What would you do if your own mother erased you from the family over something you didn't regret? Not distanced, not ignored, erased. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Lena Carter didn't expect applause for her life. She knew it didn't fit the polished version her family liked to show the world. At 27, she was juggling double shifts as a nurse, overdue bills, and raising her 8-year-old son, Miles, on her own. No partner, no backup, just her. But here's the part that never made sense. She wasn't struggling because she made bad choices. She was holding things together despite them. So why was she being treated like the family's biggest failure? It started quietly, missed invitations, group photos she somehow wasn't in, conversations that happened without her. You ever notice how exclusion doesn't always come with a fight? Sometimes it's just silence. Then came the moment that made it undeniable. The family group chat lit up. Ava's engagement party. Elegant venue, dozens of guests, everyone tagged, everyone included. Cousins Lena barely spoke to were invited, even relatives from out of state. But not Lena. And not Miles. At first, she thought it was a mistake, a glitch, something small. Then her phone buzzed again. A direct message from her mother. You embarrassed this family. A single mother. You're not my daughter. No explanation, no hesitation, just a clean cut. Pause for a second. What would you even say to that? Lena didn't cry. Didn't call. Didn't defend herself. She just stared at the screen, letting the words settle in a way that felt heavier than anger. Because this wasn't sudden. This was 8 years of quiet judgment finally said out loud. But here, where it takes a turn. She didn't argue. She didn't stay home. She picked out a dress, helped Miles button his shirt, and decided she was going anyway. Not to fix things, not to beg for acceptance, but for something else. Because Lena wasn't walking into that party alone. And when her mother saw who was standing behind her, everything was about to unravel. You ever notice how families don't just cut someone off overnight? There's always a pattern, a buildup, small things that don't feel small when you add them up. Lena knew that pattern better than anyone. Growing up, the Carter household didn't run on love, it ran on image. Appearances were everything. Smiles at the right time, silence at the wrong time. Problems didn't get solved, they got hidden. And Lena, she never quite fit the script. Her younger sister Ava was the opposite, polished, predictable, the kind of daughter who made things easy. Good grades, clean record, now engaged to a well-connected lawyer. Ava was the family's proof that everything was perfect. Lena was the contradiction. And when she got pregnant at 19, that contradiction became a problem Diane Carter couldn't ignore. But here's the strange part. Her mother didn't explode. Didn't scream. Didn't panic. She smiled. A tight, controlled smile that felt colder than anger. We'll fix this, Diane had said. Fix it. Think about that for a second. What does fix even mean in that moment? Lena understood exactly what it meant. And she said no. She chose to keep Miles. From that point on, things didn't fall apart all at once, they shifted. Quietly, strategically. Family dinners became last minute. Holiday invitations got lost. Photos got taken, just without her in them. And when people asked where Lena was, oh, she's busy. We didn't want to stress her. She couldn't make it. You see what's happening there. They didn't just exclude her. They rewrote the story so it sounded like she excluded herself. And over time, something even worse happened. It started to feel normal. Until this. This engagement party wasn't subtle. It wasn't quiet. It was public. Intentional. Final. And yet, Lena still went. Not because she thought she'd be welcomed. Not because she wanted closure. But because there was something her family didn't know. something they never saw coming. And the person walking in with her, he wasn't just support. He was a disruption, the kind that doesn't just shake a room. It exposes it. Because the truth is, this night was never about an invitation. It was about a secret. And in just a few minutes, that secret was about to walk through the front door. You know that moment when a room goes quiet, and you can't tell if it's curiosity or judgment. That's exactly what hit the room the second the doors opened. The music didn't stop, but it might as well have. Conversations slowed, eyes shifted, and one by one, heads turned toward the entrance. Lena stepped in first. Calm, composed, no hesitation. Miles held her hand, looking around with the kind of curiosity only a kid has, unaware of the tension already building. His small fingers tightened around hers as the room filled with unfamiliar faces pretending not to stare. And then, people noticed who was behind them. A man. Tall, sharp, controlled in the way that doesn't ask for attention, but takes it anyway. His presence didn't feel loud. It felt deliberate. And that's when the whispers started. Who is that? Wait, is that? No, it can't be. Lena didn't look back. She didn't need to. She already knew what was happening behind her. But across the room, Diane Carter had gone completely still. Not confused. Not surprised. Recognizing. And that's when you know this wasn't random. Because people don't react like that to strangers, unless they're not strangers at all. So here's the question. How does Lena know someone her mother clearly has history with, but never talks about? The man stepped forward slightly, just enough for the light to catch his face. Marcus Hale. Now, if you didn't know the name, you'd miss it. He wasn't flashy. No headlines, no viral fame, but in certain circles, quiet money, private investments, the kind of influence that doesn't need attention, his name carried weight. Real weight. And Diane knew it. You could see it in the way her posture changed. The control she always held so tightly, it slipped for just a second. What is he doing here? She asked, her voice low, but not steady. Lena finally smiled. Not wide, not warm. Just enough. I thought you'd remember him. And just like that, the air shifted again. Because this wasn't about status. It wasn't about showing up with someone impressive. This was personal. Old history, buried history. The kind that doesn't stay buried forever. Diane took a step forward, trying to regain control, trying to pull the moment back into something manageable. But Marcus didn't look at her like someone walking into a party. He looked at her like someone walking into unfinished business. And then he spoke. Calm, direct. I think it's time we stop pretending. And whatever composure Diane had left, it cracked. Because whatever was about to come out was something she had spent years making sure never did. What kind of truth makes someone lose control in a room full of people they've spent years trying to impress? That's the question hanging in the air as Marcus finally steps fully into the light. No raised voice. No dramatic gestures. Just presence. I think it's time we stop pretending. Simple words. But they land heavy. Diane's expression tightens instantly. Not confusion, fear. The kind that flashes before someone can hide it. This isn't the place, she says quickly, stepping closer, lowering her voice like she can contain what's already spilling out. Marcus doesn't move. It became the place, he replies evenly, when you decided she didn't belong. And just like that, the room shifts again. People aren't pretending not to listen anymore. Conversations have stopped completely now. Even Ava, standing near the center of the room, looks uncertain for the first time all night. Because this isn't about Lena being a single mom. This is older, deeper, messier. Marcus turns slightly, not to Diane but to Lena. And for a moment, everything slows. Because Lena didn't bring him here for support. She brought him here for answers. Years ago, Marcus begins, calm but precise. Your mother made a decision. Diane shakes her head immediately. Don't. But he continues. A decision that built the life everyone here sees, and erased the one she didn't want. You can feel it now, right? That shift where the story everyone believed starts cracking. Lena's expression doesn't change, but her grip on Miles' hand tightens just slightly. Because this part, she didn't fully know. Marcus exhales, like he's been holding this in for years. We had a life planned, he says, glancing briefly at Diane, before she chose something safer, cleaner. A reputation. A different future. And just like that, the perfect image starts to look constructed. But here, where it turns, Marcus looks down briefly at Miles, then back at Lena. And years later, he says, quieter now, I started noticing something I couldn't ignore. A pause. Just long enough to pull everyone in. Your son. Lena frowns slightly. What about him? And here's the moment, the one everything has been building toward. Marcus meets her eyes. The man you were told was his father, he says slowly, was never meant to stay. Silence. Not confusion, not yet. Just silence. Because the implication is there, but it hasn't fully landed. Diane steps forward sharply. That's enough. But Marcus doesn't stop. Because someone made sure of it. Now it lands. Hard. Lena's expression finally shifts, not to anger, not to panic, but to something sharper. Realization. And the question hits before she can stop it. What do you mean? Marcus doesn't hesitate. I mean, he says steady, you didn't lose him by accident. And every eye in the room turns to Diane. Because suddenly, this wasn't about Lena's choices. It was about Diane's. So what really happened to the man Lena thought abandoned her? That question doesn't just sit in the room, it takes over. You can see it on every face. Confusion, shock, calculation, people trying to piece together a story they were never meant to question. Lena doesn't move. Say it clearly, she says, her voice steady but sharper now. No half-truths. Marcus nods once, no hesitation left. The man you knew, Daniel, was pushed out before he ever had the chance to stay, he says. Opportunities disappeared, calls stopped going through, jobs he lined up suddenly fell apart. A pause. He didn't walk away, he was cut off. And just like that, the story Lena carried for 8 years collapses. Because she remembers. The sudden distance. The missed calls. The silence that never made sense. She thought he chose it. She was wrong. Slowly, almost mechanically, Lena turns her head toward Diane. And this time, there's no softness left. Why? One word, heavy. Diane exhales, like the weight of years just caught up all at once. But even now, she tries to recover control. He wasn't right for you, she says, her voice tightening. He would have ruined your future. But listen closely, that's not an explanation. That's justification. Lena doesn't blink. You mean he didn't fit your image? Silence again. Because that one lands exactly where it should. Across the room, Ava looks shaken. Guests avoid eye contact. The perfect engagement party has turned into something else entirely, something real. Marcus steps back slightly now. He said what he came to say. The rest, that belongs to Lena. And here's the shift, the final one. Lena looks down at Miles, who's watching everything, trying to understand a situation no child should have to process. Her expression softens for just a second. Then she looks back up. Not at Marcus. Not at the crowd. At Diane. You don't get to decide what ruins my life, she says quietly. No yelling. No scene. Just truth. And somehow, that hits harder than anything else tonight. Because for the first time, Diane has nothing to correct, nothing to rewrite, nothing to control. The narrative is gone. Lena takes Miles' hand. And here's the part no one expected. She doesn't wait for an apology, doesn't ask for accountability, doesn't stay. She turns and walks away. Not excluded, not erased, choosing it. And as the doors close behind her, one thing becomes painfully clear. The message Diane sent earlier. You're not my daughter. It wasn't power. It was fear. Because the one person she tried to erase was the one who could expose everything. So let me ask you, if someone tries to cut you out of their story, is it rejection? Or is it because your truth doesn't fit their version of it? If this hit you, drop truth in the comments. And if you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or pushed aside, stick around. Because sometimes, the moment they shut you out is the moment your real story begins.